Om, that is the seed sound. It is from that the creation begins. That is the spiritual experience of the ancient rishis. In fact, there is a whole Upanishad describing Om, Mandukya Upanishad. 12 hymns are there, and it describes the various aspects of Om, 4 stages of Om. And the last stage is the ineffable, the sound which is indescribable. That is the Upanishadic experience. There is also the tantric experience of the divine Shakti. It is from Om that the creation begins. In fact, according to the tantric theory, the occult theory of Tantrism, there are 4 grades of sound, and the primary source of all the sound and all the movements is in Om. Now, before we talk about it, let us read what the mother has said about the mantra. The mother on the mantra. She describes it in one of her talks. Nobody can give you the true mantra. She is forthright, she is blunt. Nobody can give you the true mantra. It is not something that is given. It's something that wells up from within. It has to spring up from within. It must spring up from within all of a sudden, spontaneously. Like a profound, intense need of your being. So there has to be the constant intensity, constant aspiration, a sort of flame burning to receive the mantra, to receive the word. And it is only under these conditions that the true mantra can come to you. It is not given to you, it comes to you. Then it has power, because it's not something that comes from outside. It's your very own cry, your aspiration, the longing of your being, the condition in which you are, and in that condition, the anguish is such that I must have this, and then the mantra speaks out to you. I saw, in my case, she's narrating her own personal experience. I saw in my case that my mantra has a power of immortality. She says straight away, my mantra has the power of immortality. Now, obviously, this is a mantra which has sprung us spontaneously from within her own soul. It is not given to her by somebody. This is a experience of the mother long, long before she came to India. This was in Paris. I saw in my case that my mantra had a power of immortality. Whatever happens, if it is uttered, it is supreme that has the upper hand. No power can stop the realization which the mantra brings. It's no longer the lower law, and the words are irrelevant. They may not have any meaning to someone else. My mantra is meaningless to others. It is my mantra. But to me, it's full, packed with meaning and effective, because it's my cry. Nobody can snatch away from me that. It is my cry. And it is in response to that cry of mine, I receive the advice, I receive the command, I received the advice, Adesh, I received the direction in which I must go. The intense aspiration of my whole being, a mantra given by a guru, is only the power to realize the experience of the discoverer of the mantra. The power is automatically there because the sound contains the experience. The sound contains the experience. That is the original sound. The original sound is that. And it contains the experience, and it is that experience which is transmitted by the Guru to the disciple, to the Shishya. It is that experience. In fact, in the Indian tradition, when a child grows up, say around 7, 8 years old, and he is ready to start having his education, we perform what is called the thread ceremony in Indian traditions. And during the thread ceremony, the priest, the Purohit, in fact, the father himself, essentially the father himself, he utters the word from everybody around here, not visible, not audible to anybody else at all. The father and the son will be sitting together, and there will be a big shawl put around them so that nobody can see, nobody can hear what they are talking about. And at that time, then the father utters the mantra in the ear of his son. And from that point onward, then he is ready to begin his education. The mantra given by a guru is only the power to realize experience. So if the father has that experience, then, so to say, automatically in the young soul, it gets transmitted through the vehicle of the mantra. I saw that once in Paris, mother says, once in Paris, at a time when I knew nothing of India, absolutely nothing, only the usual nonsense of India. I didn't even know what a mantra was at the time when she was in Paris. And then she says, I had gone to a lecture all at once. In the course of his lecture, he uttered the sound, oh, and I saw the entire room suddenly filled with light, a golden vibrating light. I was probably the only one to notice it. I said to myself, well, then I didn't give it any more thought. I forgot about the story. But as it happened, the experience recurred in 2 or 3 different countries with different people. And every time there was a sound, oh, I would suddenly see the place filled with the same light. That sound contained the vibration of thousands and thousands of years of spiritual aspiration. There is in it the entire aspiration of man toward the Supreme, our aspiration to the Supreme. It is that which is contained in that home. And the power is automatically there because the experience is there. It is sort of embedded in it permanently, in that sound, that experience. And it is that which is conveyed from person to person. Now, here is something important. The mother says he was attending the lecture, and when the lecturer uttered the word, oh, suddenly the whole room was filled with golden light, the spiritual light of the sun, golden, supramental light. Now, we do not know. We need not comment also that whether the lecturer had that knowledge of what he was uttering. What he was uttering. He uttered "Oh." We say, "Oh, Tatsavituru." We don't know what it is. It could be even something like that. We don't know. But there is somebody here in the audience whose soul is ready and suddenly he sort of jumps up and catches that golden light. That is the mother's soul. It's a ready soul. And that ready voice, that particular person, he may be instrumental, a vehicle to convey something of that into her. But she got it, and she proceeded. We can say that perhaps this was the first initiation of the mother into the spiritual yoga. When she is attending the talk, she is of course a ready person and all that thing, but there has to be somebody instrumental to set things on the path. This person perhaps was the first initiator of the mother to set her on the yogic path. He uttered, "Oh," knowingly, unknowingly, or whatever to call it, but she received what is there behind it, the sound of the Supreme Himself speaking to her directly. She was able to receive that thing, and the yogic path begins from that point onward. In fact, in the case of Sri Aurobindo, there was no question of somebody uttering into his ear Om or any mantra. He was, of course, in search of somebody who would give him clue for his spiritual quest. And when he was in Baroda in 1908, around 1st January 1908, his brother Baren brought one yogi, Vishnu Bhaskar Lile, and there in Baroda they sat together for 3 days, and it is there in a isolated hall, completely cut off from everybody. They sat together for 3 days, and there Sri Aurobindo got the experience, not just experience, but the realization of the silent mind. His mind had become totally passive, calm, quiet. He saw that his thoughts were coming from outside, not they were born in the brain, they were coming from outside. Now, silent mind, that is the initiation for Sri Aurobindo. In the case of the mother, Om is the initiation, the vibrant, dynamic aspect of life, of sound, of the Brahman, that is the mother's initiation. In the case of Sri Aurobindo, the initiation is through the silent mind. Later on, of course, his spiritual progress went rapidly, very rapidly. It flew on the wings of the eagle, as one would say, to higher and higher skies. It went on climbing sky after sky. Within a few months, he had the most remarkable, most marvelous experience of the active Brahman in Alipur jail, when he was there in Alipur jail. He saw everywhere the divine presence. Vasudeva, 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 in the trees, the plants, the jailer, the prisoners, everybody he saw in the courtroom, everybody he saw only the divine presence. That is the active part of it. So his sadhana was in that sense of a different type. But then He got the divine Adesh also on very two important points. On one occasion, he was told earlier, go to Chandarnagar. He quit all the political life, everything, and went to Chandarnagar. After a couple of months, he was told again, go to Pondicherry. Now that is the Adesha. That is the kind of a divine command which comes and it has certain imperative in it. Nobody can stop it if you are open to it. The only thing is you have to be faithful, you have to receive it and act according to what you are being told. That is the important thing. In fact, in the yoga of Savitri, as we shall see later on, at every important step of her sadhana, of her yoga, of her realization, she was constantly getting advice from her Supreme Source. The divine Savitri was constantly telling Savitri, now do this, now do this, now do this, now do this, like that. Ultimately, she tells her, Savitri, annul yourself totally, totally annul yourself, so that only God may be there. Nobody should exist there except God in you. Annul yourself. That is the kind of an adesh command she gets at every stage. Of course, that happens when the soul is ready and when we are able to receive the Adesh and act according to it. That is how the sadhana of Savitri progresses. Within less than a year, she has acquired such power in her soul that she could confront death, meet death, conquer death. That is the kind of a sadhana which she had acquired. Not only that, she even confronts the Supreme Himself, who induces her and tells her, Savitri, welcome. You have come here to meet your husband, Satyavan. He is here. You come and stay here together in this heaven, in this beautiful place, in this wonderland. Savitri says, I am sorry. I am not interested in that thing. My concern is the soul of the earth. She asserts herself, my concern is the soul of the earth. I must go back to the earth with the soul of Satyavan to do your work. I want to do your work on earth. And that is why I want Satyavan back. Now, that is the kind of a preparation she had and the will to exercise even in the face of the Supreme. She could assert, sorry, she tells him, sorry, I don't want your good things of life and all that. That is not for me. I want for the earth. So to even counter the will of the Supreme, it needs a different kind of a capacity. And I think that is what we have to have. We must exercise ourselves to acquire that kind of a capacity. Now, so the power of the mantra is all at once in the course of his lecture, he uttered a sound Om, and I saw the entire room suddenly filled with light, a golden vibrating light. I was probably the only one to notice it. That is not important, but a golden vibrating light, that is what she says here. Now that becomes the point of initiation. This is exactly what has happened here in the case of Savitri. Savitri has come of age to get married. Nobody is coming forward to claim her hand in marriage because she's so radiant, so powerful, so beautiful, nobody dares to approach her. So her father has a concern. What happens to my daughter? That is the kind of a concern here. And then he being a yogi, Ashwapati being a yogi, he goes into deep meditation. And in that meditation, he receives certain directions, certain commands, certain instructions. And then he takes to Savitri what she should do. He tells her first to Savitri 98.54. Ascend from nature. Savitri is there in front of him, that young girl. And he tells her, ascend from nature to divinity's heights. So Ashwapati the yogi sees in his daughter something very divine. And he tells her, from nature, you have taken a mortal birth. You have come down here, ascend from here to your divine stature. Face the high gods crowned with felicity. Then meet a greater God, thyself, beyond time. She has to meet a greater God than all the smaller gods. Here, that greater God, of course, in the course of story, would mean Satyavan himself. She has to meet him. For what? To do his work. To do his work. Thyself beyond time. She is already somebody who is beyond time. That knowledge is there because he is a yogi, Ashwapati. And therefore he tells her, this word was seed of all the thing to be. That is the beginning of her future life, future journey. She has now matured up to take the task for which she had taken this missioned birth. She has come here for a purpose. That purpose now must begin. Fulfillment of that purpose now must begin. This word was seed of all the things to be. A hand from some greatness opened the heart's locked doors of Savitri, because she has taken a mortal birth. Therefore, everything is closed. They had to be opened out, and she has to see the reality. A hand from some greatness opened her heart's locked doors and showed the work for which her strength was born. That is the important thing. Her work. She had come here for a specific purpose, and it is that which is now sort of awakened in her soul when her father is telling her that from nature she must rise to her divinity's height. She must rise to that, and it is that which has become the seed for her further growth and progress. Then we have a most remarkable description of the mantra here. 98.57, a sentence running into 19 lines. One single sentence running into 19 lines. By the way, this is not the longest sentence in Savitri. The longest sentence in Savitri appears, let me see, 144.14. Longest sentence in Savitri. 33 lines. Starting from, look on these forms that stay by and pass. From that point onward till the waking toil, the incoherent sleep, question mark. That is the longest sentence in Savitri, 33 lines. Now this is of course a part of the speech of death. He is addressing, he is describing certain things to Savitri in certain details. But this passage of 19 lines, it is poetry of a totally different kind. It is coming from somewhere. It is a rush of inspiration from the high source entering into our language. It is the mantra itself. It is that word which comes from one end of the infinity, stays in front of you for a while, and walks back into the other end of infinity. It comes from this side, stays here for a while, and walks back into infinity, from one infinity as if into another infinity. It is the power of that mantra. This is a poetry which, what one might say, is coming from the overmind plane. This particular passage coming from sheer overmind plane. As I told you earlier, Savitri is not mantric throughout in the usual sense of the mantra. Mantra, as we were saying last time, is something which is received by the mind, by the heart, received by the heart and confirmed by the mind. That is the Vedic definition of the mantra. It is a word received by the heart and confirmed by the mind. That is the definition given to mantra by Rishi Agastya. Now, that is a mantra which comes purely from the overmind plane. And whole of Savitri is not overmind. It is definitely overhead, but not always throughout overmind. There is a distinction here. But this particular passage of 21 of 19 lines is pure mantra by itself. And the power, the charm, the trust it has is absolutely remarkable. It is what the mother says, Om, if you are really open to it. If you can receive that Om, that is what it does. The description is, let us read. As when the mantra sings in yoga's ear, its message enters stirring the blind brain and keeps in the dim, ignorant cells its sound. The hearer understands a form of words and, musing on the index thought it holds, he strives to read it with a laboring mind, but finds by it hangs not the embodied truth. Then, falling silent in himself to know, he meets the deeper listening of his soul. The word repeats itself in rhythmic strains, thought, vision, feeling, strength. The body itself says unutterably, and he endures an ecstasy and an immortal change. He feels wideness and becomes a power. He feels wideness and becomes a power. All knowledge rushes on him like a sea, transmuted by the white spiritual ray. He walks in naked heavens of joy and calm, sees the God face and hears transcendent speech. An equal greatness in her life was born. Equal greatness in her, who stands for Savitri. The power which the mantra carries, the power even to see the God face in front of it, it is that thing which is now born in the soul of Savitri. She is set down on the path. In fact, we could say that perhaps this is the earliest, the first initiation of Savitri into a higher life. No explicit mention is given, but her father has already put her on the spiritual life. She has to discover her divinity's height and establish that divinity's height in her here. Now, this is a very complex sentence, but at the same time, very detailed statement of all the steps through which the power of mantra can work and does work. All the steps are given here one by one in great detail. See. Now, maybe we could perhaps see these things in some measure from what we have here. Basically, what happens? The first step is the mantra sings in yoga's ear. Now, this is a little complex line. He has personified yoga. Yoga is a person and he has ears. And the mantra comes from some supernal plane, from some superconscious realm, and it enters into the ear of this yoga. And it is that ear which is now receiving the mantra, it sinks into him, into his personality, into all his aspects. The mantra sinks in yoga's ear. And then what happens? His message stirs the blind brain. First it has entered here. Then there is some kind of an activity in the brain. Now, it is the audible organ, the organ of audition, ear, which receive the external hints, indications, or what you want to call them. The perception is of the external thing. And it is that which is transmitted to the brain. And then it is the brain which interprets what the ear has brought to it. So the objective reality of the thing is first perceived by the sense organ. It can be ear, it can be eye, it can be any other sense faculty. And that perception is then carried to the real sense which is behind all these senses, the true sense, that is the manasa. And the instrument of that manasa, the true sense, mind behind mind, that is the true sense, that is the manasa. The instrument of that true mind, that sense, is the brain. The physical instrument of that manasa is the brain. So you hear something, your diaphragm vibrates, it produces some signals, it goes transmitted to the brain, and then the brain is sort of read by the manasa, by the mind behind the mind. So that is the process by which the things have happened. So when the mantra sings in the ear of yoga, it is on the physical plane that the transmission is taking place, all the way up to the faculty of sensing what the information has come through the sense organ. It is the same thing for the eyes. You see an object. The object is creating a certain impression. That impression is carried to your brain. Then the brain is transmitting it to your mind. And then the mind is interpreting this way, that way. That is what happens in everything. Taste, smell, touch, these are the five organs. And all of them carry that information to the brain. It is the brain and then manasa, the mind behind the mind. And of course, the real sense perception, the true sense perception through all these channels is done by what is called in the Sanskrit literature Sajnana. S-A-M-J-N-A-N, Sajnana. It is the primary sense organ, Sajnana. Its instruments are mind, then brain, and other things. So the real sense organ in us is Sajnana, S-A-M-J-N-A-N. It is the faculty of comprehending knowledge of the objective world. You comprehend what the object is telling you, or rather, what you are seeing of the object. You are seeing here an instrument. Your eye has thrown light on the instrument. Yes, flower. Your eye has thrown light on the flower, and it has reflected back something on your eyes. A signal is formed. It goes to the brain, and then you say, "Oh, it's a violet flower." Beyond that, we cannot see anything. But Sajnana will tell you, "Oh, this flower has this quality, that quality." And the mother will say, this is a flower named progress. She will name it progress. That is the sadhyana faculty which comes into play. Now, that doesn't happen in our normal case. First, what he is describing here is the level through which the outside information, the comprehension of an object is done by us. Then, of course, there is the other faculty also of apprehension. See, we are throwing light and catching something of the object. But the object also can tell, look, I am like this, I am like this, I am like this. I can do writing. Yes, this is a table. The table is telling me, please use me for this purpose. The table tells me. So that is the apprehension. The sun will tell you, yes, I am here to give you light, to energy, to create life here. That is what the sun will tell you. See. So that is the apprehending knowledge. What we are normally doing with the faculties which we have, comprehending knowledge. So we have got both apprehending and comprehending. In the terminology, we have got sabjnana and vijnana. Vijnana. Vijnana is the apprehending of knowledge from the object. What the object is telling you. Sadhyana is what you grasp of the object. And there can be a certain kind of a dichotomy between the two types of understanding. The real knowledge of the objective world comes only to the faculty of supermind. Supermind has the complete faculty of both comprehension and apprehension simultaneously. It comprehends what the object is, it apprehends what the object is telling you, what it is. Both of them are simultaneous in the eyes, in the perception of supermind. So, here, when the mantra comes here into the yogas here, what happens first? It is a physical process by which it gets transmuted. The mantra sings in yogas here, its message stirs the blind brain, as we got here. Then it gives sound in ignorant cells of our mind, of our brain. The sound is stored by the cells of our brain. That is what it means. The sound is stored by the cells of the brain. And then the hearer, when the sound is stored, then the hearer understands a form of words. The word has come, knowledge has come, but through whatever the brain has received, whatever the cells has stored in them, through that it tries to understand what it has come, what it has received. The hearer understands a form of words, not a full word form. Then it reads it with laboring mind. Whatever has been received, it tries to read with the help of the mind. And the mind labors because it has no direct access to knowledge. Then what does the mind do? It finds only bright hints, suggestions, tokens, intimations. That is all it can do. Beyond that, it does not have the full grasp of it. Finds only hints of truth and not the truth. So all our mental knowledge is only getting some idea of the hints of truth, not the truth by itself. This is what these 4 lines mean here. As when the mantra sings in yoga's ear, its message enters stirring the blind brain and gives in the dim, ignorant cells its sound. Then hearer understands a form of words and musing on the index thought it holds. He strives to read it with a laboring mind. He strives to read it with a laboring mind, but finds bright hints. That is all it can see, mind. Bright hints. Not the embodied truth. The truth which has come to it, it escapes its understanding. This is the first step of mantra. But then he says, when the brain, the mind falls silent. When the brain is active, when the sound comes, this is what happens. But when it falls silent, he falls silent to know it, what has come. Falls silent to know it. Means listening of his soul. When it falls silent, then it listens to what the soul is trying to tell it. Then the word repeats in rhythmic strain. The word which has come, then it repeats in certain rhythmic order. Rhythm. That is the Sanskrit word, rhythm. The movement of truth in the dynamics of his action. The word repeats in rhythmic strain. Thought, feeling, vision, sense, body, self are seized. Everything, all our faculties, then gets seized by it. And he endures an ecstasy if he is extremely happy about that kind of thing. He endures an ecstasy and immortal change. The power of that word, when it is received in the silent mind, is to bring about an immortal change. This is what we have got here. Then, falling silent in himself to know, he meets the deeper listening of his soul. The word repeats itself in rhythmic strains. Thought, vision, feeling, sense. The body is self sees unutterably, and he endures in ecstasy and an immortal change. What a sudden difference there in the description. What the mind, brain receives, and what in the silent mind the soul receives. Such a vast difference is there already here. Now, the word repeats itself in rhythmic strain. It is a kind of a hammer beat. Yes, 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 yes. And it is that power of the sound which starts working even on the physical plane. And then he says, he feels the listener, the hearer of the sound, he feels wideness, brahat, or vastness. He becomes a power. Knowledge rushes unto him like a sea. The whole ocean is flooding into his being. He feels wideness, W is capital, brahat, wideness, and becomes a power, P is also capital. The whole Shakti comes and gets established herself in him. All knowledge rushes on him like a sea. In fact, this is exactly what happened. All knowledge rushes unto him like a sea. When the mind has fallen silent and when the word is received. This is exactly what happened during the entire Arya period when Shivananda was writing half a dozen books simultaneously, month after month, for 7 years. All knowledge rushed unto him like a vast sea, unceasing. And later on, when somebody asked him, he said that I could have written not for 7 years, but for 70 years. And still, that knowledge would not have been exhausted. So we have missed all that knowledge. We have missed all that knowledge. But he says he could have written for 70 years, you see. So where has that knowledge gone, you see? But I think he has managed to bring all that knowledge of 70 years in one Savitri. He has left it all here in Savitri. If we really open to Savitri, it's not the question of 7 years, not a question of 70 years, not a question of 700 years. It is eternal, it is endless, it is there. The more you plumb into it, the more and more of it comes out of it. Constantly it renews, constantly. So it is there, rushes like a sea, but we are closed. You see, we are not able to. Transcendent, all knowledge rushes on him like a sea, transmuted by the white spiritual ray. That is the change that takes place. It's kind of a transformation. That spiritual knowledge has entered in him. In fact, even the physical body of Shivantu had undergone a change at that time because that knowledge is there. Transmuted by the white spiritual ray, he walks in naked heavens of joy and calm. He walks in heaven bare with joy and calm everywhere. And what does he do? He sees the God face and hears transcendent speech, not the ordinary language, not the ordinary word, the transcendent speech. Paravani, Paravani, that is the description. He hears the transcendent speech itself when in joy and in that calm he walks with that knowledge which rushes unto him like a turbulent, bright, luminous sea. When it rushes unto him, he walks like that, you see. This is what has happened. This is not imagination. This is not poetry. This is not even inspiration. This is revelation of his own personal experience. This is a revelation. You walk into heaven and hear transcendent speech, Paravani. According to the Tantric traditions, we have seen last time very briefly, there are 4 grades of speech, starting from the lowest, what we are speaking around, that is called Vaikhari. Next to Vaikhari comes Madhyama. Next to Madhyama comes Paschanti. Next to Paschanti, the topmost is Paravani, the transcendent speech. Paschanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari, beyond all of them, the ineffable, inexpressible, which cannot be really brought into language at all. Now, Vaikhari, we could say that belongs to the physical plane of what we are talking around here, on the gross level, on the material plane here, Vaikhari. That is the language which has got shaped here. Madhyama is the intimate. Madhyama, the word itself means intermediate between this and that. She is the intermediate. She belongs to the vital, the life plane. She is the intermediary between the physical and the mental, the spiritual, the higher. The Paschanti is the pure spiritual language. It is the seen. Paschanti means pascha, means see, look. It is the speech which is seen, which is not heard, which is seen. And it is that seen speech which has its birth at the highest level. In fact, we might say that Paschanti var, Paschanti, belongs to the sheer over mental plane. Over mental plane. The gods speak amongst themselves in that language. Paschanti var. The same, they see, they don't have to describe like this. They see and talk like that. As I told you earlier, when Mother used to have the visits of Durga during the Durga Puja days in October, year after year, it went on for a number of years. She used to stay with the Mother for a few days at times. And they used to exchange notes, they used to talk and that kind of a thing and all that thing. And then somebody asked the Mother later on, but Mother, In which language you're speaking? In which language you're speaking? Then of course she said, certainly not in French. They have got another language there. Paschanti word. By vision images, they communicate rapidly, immediately with each other. Now, this particular description, what we have here, these 19 lines, belongs to Paschanti Vak. The whole description. What I said earlier, Paravani, it belongs to that level here. And it has a power. You can see that it is a vision. You can really kind of make a picture of the entire description. The sound comes, it sings, it goes into the ear, stirs the brain, this happens, that happens, and then you see a form, but the form has limitations. It does not grasp the true things which are there, but if your mind falls silent and then the soul hears it, then a total transmutation takes place, and then all the way you are led up to the stage of transcendent speech. Paschanti Vak. Transcendent Paravani, that belongs to the supramental language. Obviously, that language is not available here on earth at this stage. When Supermind manifests itself fully, it will speak, it will talk, it will express itself in that language, in Para language, Paravani, in the transcendent speech. It will speak in that language and express everything, whatever it has to communicate, so to say. Because after all, there are beings, there is multiplicity, and there has to be some kind of a communication between one and the other. And that communication is done through this mode of communication, vehicle, language, para. And it is that change now of God face which has taken place in Savitri. See, her mind has sort of fallen silent and she is receiving the inspiration, the power. He says, you know, he feels a wildness and becomes a power. Savitri has received that power already, and she is now set on her forward journey. Actually, there is a very beautiful realization of a high mystic quality in St. John's utterance. The very opening sentence of St. John is a real marvel. He must have been one of the highest types of rishis was able to receive that kind of a knowledge. There is no doubt about that. Maybe other things are different, but as far as that inspiration is concerned, something had opened out in him and he receives that thing truly, like Vamadeva, like Agastya, the ancient rishi. I would put this particular thing also in the same kind of a category. St. John's first statement, he says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word itself was God. That is sheer Om, the power of expression, of manifestation, of putting things in reality in the world of manifestation here. That is the word. That is the meaning of word. You have other metaphysical or Gnostic senses to the word. You say logos, you say Sophia, all those things are there. In Sanskrit also you got Vak, all those things are there. But basically This is the most crucial experience, this is the most remarkable experience, I must say, and it is put in such a manner here. King James Bible has really caught it in English also. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It's a very, very rich experience, I must say that. This is what Savitri is here. The word repeats itself in rhythmic strains. That power of expression repeats itself in rhythmic strain. Thought, vision, feeling, sense. The body is a self as sees unalterably, and he endures an ecstasy and an immortal change. That is the word, that is the power of words.